What's going on, everybody? GemMint here. You may have seen my latest video where I counted down my top 10 favorite Sideshow statues, so you knew this was coming. My top 10 favorite statues from Prime 1 Studio. Now, I really wanted to make this a top 10 Prime 1 statues of all time video, but the problem is they have so many licenses, different licenses, stuff that I'm not necessarily into that may be considered a grail to someone else, so I decided, you know what, let me just stick with pieces that have been on this table, stuff that I've actually seen in person, whether I've owned it or I've just reviewed it. So that's what we're going to count down today. Before we get into it, make sure that you hit that like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment so you could be entered into our giveaway, because we're giving away this Sideshow Deja Thoris statue once we hit 150,000 subscribers. Alright guys, now with these lists, it's tradition to give an honorable mention. So number 11 on the list, or my honorable mention, is Cyborg Superman, 1/3 scale. Can you see it in the background? Man, it was tough not to put this on the top 10, so we had to do the honorable mention. I'm a big fan of Reign of the Superman. Death and Return of Superman was one of my introductions into reading comics. Love the Terminator 2 inspired Superman character that, what is it? Hank Henshaw? I don't remember. That's not important. He's Cyborg Superman. Super impressive. I think with a sculpted cape, may have put this in the top 10. It has a large fabric cape. It doesn't really bother me. I mean, as you can see when I have it in my room tours and in some of my backdrops, it's an impressive piece. All right, so now let's jump into the top 10. Number 10, sticking with the theme from the honorable mention, 1/3 scale Doomsday. This is such a massive piece. It's really like having a small child of a statue. I have it here behind me in the PAX unit, and he's barely hanging on in there. I used to think that he was too big until, you know, I paired him with Superman Hush, Cyborg Superman, Black Suit Superman, and just 1/3 scale, man. That's the next wave for me, I think, putting this guy number 10 on the list. One of my favorite, if not favorite, Superman villains. All right, guys, coming in at number 9 is a piece that I own, and I have sold it, but I was so impressed when I got this in hand, and it was just a super imposing piece, man. The 1/3 scale Killer Croc. This piece had an amazing paint job. It had glistening shines to it. The sculpt and textures of that of a crocodile looked amazing, and he was just so huge at 1/3 scale. I had him, I believe, in the module cases downstairs for a while, definitely in garage shelves, and the way he's hunched over, it's like the top of the shelves would just graze his back. Like he had to put his head down to fit in the display. One of the reasons why I didn't keep him is because it's based off of the Arkham video game series, and I kind of wanted to keep everything comic related, or at least like the legacy definitive version of each character, and I just didn't feel like that really fit that criteria, but still an amazing, awesome statue. All right, guys, number 8 on the list, we're gonna shrink down a little bit to 1/4 scale, but it's hard to say shrink down when you're talking Prime 1 and 1/4 scale. We're gonna talk about Anti-Venom. So this one was a surprise sleeper for me. I really loved the little Sideshow collaboration Prime 1 had with Venom, Anti-Venom, and Spider-Man 2099. Anti-Venom was my least anticipated, but when I got it in, it blew me away, man. The texturing of the symbiote and the musculature, the symbiote tendrils that you had around the base itself, the portraits, and I mean, I appreciated that it was Eddie Brock as well as Anti-Venom from that storyline. And man, I don't think we've seen an Anti-Venom statue before or since. Amazing piece. All right, number 7 on the list, I kind of just foreshadowed. It's the 1/4 scale, I think, Venom, man. The Prime 1 Venom was enormous, and when it came out, I said that it was my favorite 1/4 scale Venom. It might still be. I got to see the new Sideshow one when it comes out, but the Sideshow one is definitely not going to have the presence. This one was huge. It had a tall base. It had a very tall, top-heavy Venom. It was based on the Dark Origins series. He was super muscular and probably the best Venom portraits ever. The teeth, the tongue, the saliva, everything was top-notch. Definitely a huge, crazy Venom statue. All right, guys, on to number 6. It was difficult not to make this list all Berserk. And I did do a ranking of my favorite Berserk statues, so I didn't want this to feel too much like it. But number 6, I had to give it to a Berserk piece, and I gave it to the human Zod. Nosferatu Zod in human form. Again, supposed to be 1/4 scale, but because Zod's such a big piece, it would go with like 1/3 scale DC pieces. Again, when you're talking paint application, sculpt, texture, realism, little mixed media elements with the fur kind of pelt around his neck, the bloody switch outs, just everything about the detail that Prime 1 packs into the pieces is really what sets them apart from other companies. Their detail is unique in their own way and top notch. Not to say better or worse, but it's unique and it's done so well. Probably one of the best Berserk pieces from that line. All right, we made it halfway through the list. Before we jump into number 5, I want to thank That Spider-Man Booth for sponsoring this video. If you guys are into buying comics whatsoever, you got to download Whatnot and follow That Spider-Man Booth. They have daily, almost all day long, live comic book auctions where you can get great exclusive variants. You could even win key issues in their mystery bags. They are killing it over on Whatnot. Make sure to give them a follow and follow me on there as well, as I sell live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific. Number 5 on the list. Now, I didn't say it wasn't going to have any Berserk. Got to go with Femto, the piece that really made me look in the Berserk direction. When I saw Prime 1's Femto, I was like, huh, that's a crazy piece. The egg bellet base was amazing with that egg texture and the inside, which has the meat of like someone's body, and it's glistening and shining. And then Femto has final boss character vibes. Then with Dark Horse printing the hardcovers, I picked up Berserk, started reading it, and fell in love. Femto's Prime 1 statue was a big reason for that. Amazing base, one of the most ambitious bases, I would say, in the line. Unless maybe Skull Knight on horse, which I'm still waiting on. Alright guys, number 4 on the list, it's the last Berserk piece, and so the list wasn't all Berserk. I combined like 5 statues in one. Basically every gut statue from Prime 1, whether you're talking the Black Swordsman, Berserker armor, the 1/3 scale, any of the bloody variants. The Unleashed ones haven't been released yet. But let's just say any Prime 1 Studio Guts piece, choose your pick, is number 4 on the list. I mean, they're all done so well. They're all very high on my list in their own unique ways. The Black Swordsman has that great, gritty black cape flying in the wind, seeing Guts all beat up with his cannon arm. Then you have Berserker armor, which is amazing, perched up on the rock, still has the cape flowing, iconic artwork and imagery. And then, yeah, you have the 1/3 scale, which the problem is they don't have any other 1/3 scale pieces. Now, if they continue that line, then that piece might start becoming more of a contender. But especially as like a centerpiece or a one-off, the 1/3 scale piece is great as well. That's why I couldn't even choose what order to put them in. It's like, you know what, Guts, whichever one, number 4 on the list. All right, guys, number 3 on the list, and it's probably my favorite Batman statue of all time. It's the DK3 Dark Knight Returns Master Race 1/3 scale. Crazy piece, man. I first saw it in San Diego Comic-Con. I thought, this is massive, enormous. There's no way I would ever own this. Then I owned it. Huge sculpted cape, huge eagle base, huge old buff Bruce Wayne with the black and with the blue and gray costume, with the rifle, harpoon gun. It's amazing. The only thing for me that doesn't make it like the Batman piece to own is the fact that it's like an alternate version of Batman, the Frank Miller version. It's not, for me, the definitive version of that character, which is why I don't still own it, and I'm still waiting on that to be made. But DK3, it's still a great piece. Number 3 on the list, and they have 2 variants, right? They also do have the black and gray. All right, guys, number 2 on the list is the only one on the list that I didn't own, but I did review it. I had it here on the table. It belonged to a good friend of mine, Very Gary, and it was the Batman Who Laughs 1/3 scale statue, which I'm kicking myself every day for not buying, especially because if I want to continue down the line with the other characters, which they're making many, I already missed out on the first one. But amazing statue, all the Robin Crows, the sinister nature of him, the chains hanging down. Man, one of Prime 1's best pieces. I got it at number 2. I wish I owned it. One day I probably will still pick this up, because I definitely want to get the Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman from Dark Knight's Death Metal. So you got to have Batman Who Laughs. Alright guys, and number 1 for me, my favorite, what I consider the best Prime 1 Studio statue that I've personally owned. Again, this whole list is my opinion. Mentioned it, I think, in the beginning of the video, but Superman Hush, sculpted cape. To me, it's the definitive Superman. It's 1/3 scale, so there's still room for that 1/4 scale contender, but for me, I know it's based off Jim Lee artwork in Hush, but he just looks like comic Superman. It's not like a Red Sun Superman or like a Krypton suit or whatever. It's just a regular red and blue Superman. He's huge, he's muscular, he's imposing. He is a presence in the collection, a centerpiece. And again, with Doomsday And with the other 1/3 scale DC lines, just such an awesome presence of a piece. My favorite. Can't wait for the diorama, Superman vs. Doomsday. I want to see how those 3 pieces pair up together, but that's my top 10. Let me know what your favorite Prime 1 Studio pieces are in the comments down below. It might be stuff that's totally different, maybe from different franchises like Lord of the Rings or Jurassic Park or what have you, but you know I'm a comic guy. That's my list. Let me know yours. Thanks for watching. Stay minty fresh. Peace.